Hello everybody, welcome back to my series on mages in BFA. In the first video we went over frost mages, so if you want to check that out, definitely go do that really quick. But if you just are interested in what I think about fire mages and then eventually arcane mages, this is going to be video number 2 and arcane will be video number 3. Now we talked about frost a little bit, we mostly just went over the talent specializations or the new talent changes and stuff like that. I want to do the same for fire and sort of this time I want to give a little bit more information on my thoughts and feelings and where potentially I see fire mages going in BFA, maybe. We still, as a little disclaimer, don't have information on Azeroth armor traits, what's going to be going on with our neck as well as our PvP talents. And now that could really change the way that the class functions and hopefully add just a little bit more to it. But without further ado, in Legion, fire, a lot of people liked it because it had a lot of control. Now, it was it was good in raids, it was good in Mythic Plus. The problem with it in PvP was, for me at least, you had a lot of control, you had a lot of CC, but the damage just wasn't there, and it didn't feel good for me. Personally, I like when mages, are casting spells and doing a lot of damage. That's why I kind of opted for Arcane. The Arcane missiles felt really rewarding. Outside of Arcane power, you still did good damage, but for fire mages, it just seemed like the damage was just so bad. Getting off Pyroblast were just too easy, too convenient with Phoenix Flames, as well as Fire Blast. You're always getting those Pyroblast procs, and because of that, they really can't be strong because it's all instant cast damage, it's unavoidable damage. No one can really do anything about it except potentially dispel your procs, but you just get so many of them so frequently that they have to be like little bee stings instead of a hard-hitting Pyroblast, which is what I always liked about Fire. Fire should be doing a lot of damage, in my opinion, with Fireball and their Pyroblast procs. And in that sense, I'm kind of happy that Phoenix Flames isn't a main part of the rotation. Potentially it could be. If you guys notice here in the 60 talent row, Phoenix Flames is now a talent, and we'll talk about that. So that is something that could potentially come back in, but I think now that Power Blasts are a little bit harder to get, that could mean they could hit a little harder, which to me would make Fire a lot more fun. But yeah, just looking at these talents, there's a few things I wanna note right away. So in BFA, we're going to be losing legendaries, our artifact weapon, as well as, set bonuses if you're a PvE or if you're a PvPer, that doesn't matter. And obviously PvP talents are going to be changing. So the first thing I noticed when looking at these fire talents is 2 of them, Searing Touch, which is a new talent. Scorch deals 150% increased damage and is guaranteed a critical strike when the target is below 30% health. Now that is literally just a legendary. They just took a legendary and they replaced the talent. I believe it was Conflagration. So they replaced Conflagration. I guess not many people picked it, and they put in Searing Touch instead. So yeah, that's the first one. The second one is Pyroclasm. Consuming Hot Streak has a 15% chance to make your Consuming Hot Streak has a 15% chance to make your next non-instant Power Blast cast within 15 seconds, deal 300% increased damage, maximum 2 charges. So that's really cool. When you consume a Hot Streak, so when you're using your instant power, you have a 15% chance to get this secondary proc. I'm going to see if I can get it here for you. I have to get lucky. I'll keep trying, but basically, when you consume your Hot Streak, you have a chance, to get the secondary proc, and it's basically a hard cast Power Blast that hits really hard, and it's a lot of fun to use. The only problem I see with this talent in PvP is that the proc doesn't really last that long. I think it only lasts 15 seconds. Yeah, so not only is it a little bit RNG to get the proc in the first place, when you do get the proc, you don't really have that much time to work with it. I think if this went up to like 20, 30 seconds, it would be significantly better, just because it is a long cast. What's the cast time on Power Blast? Almost 4 seconds. So getting off like a 4-second Power Blast in that 15-second window that makes sense it's a little bit dodgy. But yeah, that's basically the second talent. That's literally just a legendary that they put in. And then lastly, you have Phoenix Flames, which we lost from our artifact weapon. So we lost our artifact weapon. we got Phoenix Flames now. But if we do pick Phoenix Flames, that means you don't get Flame On, and you don't get Alex Straza's Fury. Another change that they made was to Blazing Soul. Casting Blink ignites a blazing barrier around you. So anytime you blink, you get a blazing barrier. Now that's actually going to be a solid amount of defense. The problem is Shimmer's just too good. Also, I guess they added Blast Wave. We had Blast Wave before, but it wasn't nearly as good. Now it's actually, it knocks them back slightly. It's a very, very slight knockback, and actually snares them as well. But once again, you have Blazing Soul, which is kind of cool. You have a Blast Wave, which is kind of cool. It's an extra interrupt that you can knock people back with. But unfortunately, it's on the same talent row as Shimmer, and it's really hard for me to see a world where Demon Hunters and Windwalker Monks exist, and Warriors exist, and all these melee have so much mobility. It's gonna be really difficult for me to see a world where you don't pick Shimmer. You don't have that cast while blink ability. I've sort of talked about my thoughts on that before. I feel like the arms race has gotten a little bit out of control, and I really wish mages weren't forced into playing Shimmer, but it feels like it's absolutely necessary for all the mage decks to play Shimmer in Legion, and I expect no difference in BFA, to be completely honest with you. So, my initial thoughts when looking at this is like, well, okay, so if I pick Searing Touch, and I pick Pyroclasm and I pick Phoenix Flames, I'm picking 3 things that my artifact used to give me and legendaries used to give me. Now I don't have either of those, so I lose that customization, and effectively I've lost 3 talent rows. So that's my main issue with this, is like, lost a little bit of customization, or a lot of customization, with our legendaries and stuff like that. That never really mattered in PvP, so this is just PvE specific. These talents have now opened up to PvPers, but the thing is, it feels like you have even less choices. So if you don't want to go with Phoenix Flames, which I'm completely fine with, honestly, you can go with like Flame On. Anyways, I'll go through this. I'm scatterbrained right now, but it made me a little bit sad, because it feels like we lost a lot of those different routes for ways to customize our character and have extra abilities and extra procs and passives, and now they're just talents that if you take, unfortunately, you lose stuff like Meteor, or Flame On, or Alexander's Fury, or Firestarter, or Power Maniac. But just at first glance, for like PvP, I'd probably be going with a build, Pyromaniac, Shimmer, Incanters, maybe Phoenix Flames. It really just depends on how hard your Power Blast hits. Maybe it's worth it. Like, I really believe that Phoenix Flames should do something in PvP, like if you're spec'd into Phoenix Flames, your Power Blast doesn't hit as hard or something like that, because it's so much easier to get, because you have those 3 extra charges of instant cast damage. I feel like if you're not playing with Phoenix Flames, your Power Blast should hit much harder. So, you have that kind of more rewarding damage, and not the little bee stings that Phoenix Flames provides. But Alexander's Fury as well as Flame On are really, really cool. Flame On reduces the cooldown of your Fire Blast by 2 seconds and increases the maximum charges by 1. So Flame On, probably going to be playing with that, or maybe Phoenix Flames. We'll see. I really don't like Phoenix Flames, as you can probably tell. Then you have the same options: Frenetic Speed, Double Nova, or Ring of Frost. In PvP, I'd say most people play Ring of Frost for that extra crowd control. You get kicked on Polymorph, you can drop a Ring of Frost, because that's what Fire's really, been focused around so far. And then your 90 row is once again just an AoE row, which is kind of unfortunate, to be honest with you. Like, I really wish that for mages they changed around the talents just a little bit more. On my Windwalker Monk, for example, what they did was they made it so you don't have a row of just like healing or just mobility. They mixed it around, so in a specific row you can pick, hey, maybe I want to stack all mobility, and you can do that as you go through the talent rows, or maybe I want to stack all bonus healing or all defensives. You can do that as you go through the rows. That's kind of like a pick and choose. I don't like the idea of a talent row being, hey, these are your AoE talents, especially for mages, because maybe I don't want an AoE talent, you know what I mean? Maybe I don't want Flame Patch and Unstable Magic and Living Bomb breaking all my crowd control. It seems most likely you're going to be playing Living Bomb, just so you do have that extra damage when you want it, but you don't need to use it when you are going for those hard, long CC chains. Those hard, long CC chains. Ugh. And then in the 100 row, you have Kindling, which reduces the cooldown of your combustion every time you use, Fireball, Fire Blast, Phoenix Flames, or they get crits. So it reduces the cooldown of your combustion. You have Pyroclasm, which is, like I said, that really, really new, cool talent. Let's see if I can get a proc. Come on, give me a proc. That gives you that really hard hitting Power Blast. And then you have Meteor. So if you do go with Pyroclasm, which I think does have potential and does sound really, really fun because those Power Blasts hit really, really hard. To give you sort of an idea, when you cast a Fireball while leveling up, it does around 700 damage, which hurts me a little bit. But I've gotten a Pyroclasm crit for like 20,000. So I'm sure it might get toned down a little bit because it is so strong, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I like the idea of having a casted spell that hits really hard, kind of like a Greater Power Blast, I guess, we had before and no one really used it, so maybe it won't be that viable. I definitely don't think it's going to be viable if it only lasts 15 seconds. Okay, so here's the proc. You can see casting up a Power Blast, goes in, it hit for 6,600, so it's about a little less than 10 times as good as a Fireball that you cast out, which is pretty substantial, pretty insane. So my leveling up experience as Fire, I will admit, as Frost, it felt a lot better, a lot smoother. You had a lot more, control with your Novas and your snares. Damage definitely felt better as well. So far, the Fire rotation doesn't really do it for me. I'm really interested to see what the PvP talents are, of course. But it feels like it's going to be very similar to how it's played on Legion right now. Potentially there might be some differences, if they can get the numbers in the right spot. The thing that makes me the most sad about Fire, if I can demonstrate for you really, really quickly, is Fireball. Let's look how much damage it does. 678 damage. So it looks like hits. Says 815, but okay, great. And look how much damage Fire Blast does. That was a crit, but okay, crit again. But basically your Fire Blast hits harder than Fireball. And that is my main concern with the Mage specs, is that Fireball, Frostbolt, and Arcane Blast just don't hit hard enough. And I think in PvP it's a real problem. Maybe in PvE, it's not a big deal because you're throwing in all those procs, but man, does it feel rewarding as a mage to be able to sit there and chain off Frostbolts or Fireballs and be able to really hurt someone and punish them for leaving you alone, you know what I mean? When you're sitting there and you're playing Tickle Me Elmo and shooting out these Fireballs for 600 damage when you're basically every ability you have hits harder than a Fireball. Dragon's Breath hits harder than a Fireball. Fire Blast hits harder than a Fireball, or a Fireball, It makes me a little bit sad, and it's something that I definitely hope changes in the future. But I do see potential, if they make Pyroclasm a little bit more reasonable to get off. And, obviously we have some good PvP talents and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't mean to make any of you depressed. These are just my thoughts and feelings, and I want to be as honest with you guys as I possibly can be. I'm recording this video right before I'm about to stream, so yeah, I'm going to be streaming twitch.tv/Venruki after this. But if you guys like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you guys like the channel, give me a follow. Let me know if this is content that you guys do enjoy, and I want to know what you think. Do you think it's reasonable that Fireball hits less than Fire Blast and Dragon's Breath, or would you like to see those casted nukes that are reasonable to get off, aren't a 4-second cast, be just a little bit better? So you actually feel like a mage instead of a proc pooper. Anyways, bye for now. If you guys want to check out the Frost video, it's the one before this. I'll be doing the Arcane video very, very soon. Thanks, guys.